Okay, so I've got my paintbrush handy, my dry paintbrush with the stiff bristles, so that I can start to clean out those lines I carved in the last video. As you know, when you carve into slightly drier clay, you get crumbs that show up. That can happen even in softer clay too, but it seems to be worse in slightly drier clay. It's your preference if you want to carve in plastic clay versus slightly drier clay. That's your call. You figure out what works best for you. I use my fingertips sometimes to brush crumbs away, the tool itself, and if that doesn't work, the paintbrush. Now I will be adding a knob like you see reflected in the sketch. I'll show that in another video, but for right now I'm focusing on the 3 sections of Zentangles I'm going to feature on the lid or the cap. 3 different Zentangles. For you, I'd like to see a minimum of at least 2 different Zentangles on your project. I'm going with 3. I could have gone bananas and done 5, 6, or 7, but I stuck with 3. And I'm just keeping that drawing, that sketch handy. I'm going to begin with my wavy lines. It's kind of an easy start. So I'm freehanding some wavy lines. You can see those crumbs showing up already. It's a good idea to carve lightly at first, especially if you don't want to commit to your designs, if you think you may not like it and you want to erase. You can always go back later and carve that shallow line deeper. So initially carve lightly and shallow. It's not going to be a problem to go back and recarve and deepen those lines if you feel the need to. You might have to touch up those 2 cap marks from time to time. So I'm continuing to use my lead pencil without the lead, that mechanical lead pencil. And I'm using that to just make waves. So my waves, I make waves in real life and I make waves in clay. But those waves are just kind of a nice introductory way to begin decorating. My other Zentangle designs are going to be a little bit more complicated. I like to keep a little water handy in case my clay is a little on the dry side, like too dry. I just kind of soften up the surface with my thumb. I take a wet thumb. I just quickly soften up the surface. I do a circular motion with my thumb to just instantly rehydrate that clay, and then I begin to carve. I don't do that all the time, just in spots where I feel it needs it, where I feel the clay's a little too dry for my liking, or the tool is skipping, or it's producing too many crumbs. Any of those situations typically make me want to add a little bit of water to dampen the surface. So I've got all my wavy lines in that one section of my lid. Now I'm going to move on to a different style of Zentangle.